Going to make it 60. 57.5, all right. I get 57.5. 57.5. Buys her. All done. I sell her at 57,500. Goes to David Ellis. Thank you, David. Well bought.
This is it. Racing in the Tarzino, away they go. Melody Belle a little way off them, but travels well before the home corner. Sleeping Beauty, Dance, and Dark Princess. Wider out, Melody Belle. She's starting to charge home as well. Here she comes, Melody Belle. Melody Belle wins it.
Isn't she a star?
Yeah, she is. You just can't fault her. Bring it on next couple of legs back here.
Yeah, so she'll be back here for the middle leg, Windsor Park Plate Day.
Absolutely, and then we're going to have a crack at the 2000 as well.
Melody Belle goes in. Stand by for the start. We're ready and racing in the Windsor Park Plate. They are going at it here. Now we've got Melody Belle. He's releasing her in the centre. She canned it up to them now. Melody Belle a length and a half in front. Have a look at the doubling of New Zealand turf. And Melody Belle does the double. She'll get it.
She's just amazing. Like, she's just got that will to win and just doesn't know when to say never. So every time you go out, she gives you 110%.
You come here now for a crack at this elusive Triple Crown. It's never been done before. Can she do it?
It's a great honour and privilege to be able to come and have a go at that occasion.
There's so much nervous anticipation regarding the possibility of the Triple Crown going for the first time ever. Now we're racing. They're off in the Livermore. Melody Belle's away well near the inside. Here she comes, Melody Belle. Opie Bosson's about to release her. Peso's fighting hard on the inside, but she's got the front now. Melody Belle from Peso, and they get right away from Crown Prosecutor. Here it comes, 9 Group 1 wins, and she is going to be dancing to her destiny. Melody Belle wins the first ever Triple Crown.
I just love her. She just keeps coming up underneath you. She's just a darling.
I said to people before the race, we're standing on the crest of history, and now we've done it. So it's an incredible feeling to come here today and win this very elusive Triple Crown.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Weigh In. If you are a racing fan, then there was absolutely no better place to be than ringside at Hawke's Bay yesterday. We saw a rising star in Catalyst, and that was just the entree, because for the main, we had Melody Belle as she was crowned the first ever Triple Crown winner of the Hawke's Bay Spring Carnival. Bevan Sweeney, you were on course yesterday with me, and welcome into the show. It was just a fantastic day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, Ian. Very good morning to you and to the viewers. I think those pictures really tell the story of yesterday. It was just history making, and the wonderful fact for me yesterday was that it was almost a coronation. She was lengths in front of that field yesterday, but the people came out and supported one of our champions, which over the last 5-10 years they haven't really come out and done that with our very top line horses. But yesterday they came, they saluted her, and she delivered as we expected. She was all class, and she's just gone to another level this preparation. And then throw in Catalyst, who was just ridiculous, and we've got a fair future coming with the horses in NZ.
It was a real fairy tale ending to the Hawke's Bay Spring Carnival. We welcome in another guest on the show this morning, and that's Mark Chitty from Hanui Farm. And Mark, you were there the day Melody Belle hit the ground and the day she was born, and what a journey it's been since then. Welcome in.
Thanks, Emily. Yeah, far more famous day yesterday than the day she was born, but yeah, no, very, very exciting.
Tell me about that foaling. It was. I've spoken to you about this before, and it was nothing remarkable, was it?
No, absolutely not. During vet work, 10 o'clock in the morning, fold down, and Malika Belle, to be fair, probably looked after herself a little bit through pregnancy, and we had just an average sized foal. But probably what stood her instead going forward was Malika Belle's temperament and the ability to, great milk supply, and the foal really improved very, very quickly.
We're going to talk to Jamie very, very shortly, and she seems very simple to train. I think she was pretty simple to handle as a young horse and bring through the grades, very uncomplicated.
Absolutely. I'm an equine veterinarian and I hardly saw her, so you know, that's testament to her, and it's shown through her whole career.
We're looking at some vision of her here in the ring when she was sold, and it's hard to believe 57,500 was all she made. And her breeder, Marie, she's a seller, isn't she? And that was it. You just wanted to sell her.
Absolutely. You know, in the commercial sales environment, you've got to be seen to be a seller. I think she, you know, hard out cost would have been close to 90,000. You know, command service fee was 40,000. But you go in the ring to sell, and you're playing long when you're breeding, and you know, we had a reserve of 60,000 on us, so we're prepared to meet the market. And David was the man that put his hand up, and you know, the rest is history.
There's something really unique about this mare, isn't there? And when you see her in the birdcage, she's almost dismissive of the opposition when she walks around. And then noticeable yesterday, and you pick up on this, when the aftermath interview is to be done, she pulls up and waits for you.
Oh, she knows. Yep.
Waits till the interview is finished, and then she's off. She's had her time in the spotlight, and she loves it.
And there's a real trait of good horses where they win a race or they complete a track gallop and they stop and they look back and they take it all in. And she's one of those. She does that. She pulls up from her race, and I see her, she stops and waits for me, and then, like you said, as soon as the interview's done, she's off. She's done her bit. She is a true winner, that is for sure. Let's have a recap of the race.
She just does look a margin above this field, and she's all power and all prestige, really. Just a picture to watch. Emily, what stood out for you when you saw these horses parade?
Well, obviously it's hard to go past Melody Belle based on her current credentials, and it's fair to say that the team couldn't have her in any better fashion. She's absolutely looking immaculate here today. You know, she's here to do one job and one job only.
There's so much nervous anticipation regarding the possibility of the Triple Crown going for the first time ever. Now we're racing, they're off in the Livermore. Jackstar a little bit slow to begin. Mongolian Marshall and Athena Baby. Melody Belle's away well near the inside. She's starting to peel around them now. Melody Belle starting to come forward. Atlanta Peach, Vernon Me, and then Crown Prosecutor. Here she comes, Melody Belle. Opie Bosson's about to release her. Peso's fighting hard on the inside, but she's got the front now. Melody Belle from Peso, and they get right away from Crown Prosecutor. Here it comes, 9 Group 1 Wells, and she is going to be dancing to her destiny. Melody Belle wins the first ever Triple Crown.
I just love her. She just keeps coming up underneath you. She's just a darling.
She's probably the best she's ever been, and so while it's never over till it's over, there was a lot of confidence in the camp. It's incredibly life-changing.
It's just great the way it's worked out, and Jamie Richards has done an incredible job training this filly to win all these races, and it's one of the great days that I've had on a race course.
It doesn't get old watching that vision, does it? It's just fantastic to see, and it's fantastic for New Zealand racing. And she put in a really good performance, but things got dicey. It wasn't all sort of smooth running for her, was it?
No, it wasn't smooth running in the first 600-700 metres, but the last 500 was sit back in your lounge chair and just watch a good horse go. They jumped away, and Opie used his position. He tried to push up onto the inside position in the trail. But look, Peso under Rosie Mize was always going to push forward, and Mauna Kea, there's probably a step down from the Group 1 level. They put that horse into the race, and Opie probably ended up one spot further back than he wanted to be in the run. And so when he was through back the fence, he thought, well, I want to get one off here, and you can see him trying to push off. Good competitive riding from the other senior hoops, as you would expect to say, well, Opie, you're in there. You're going to have to stay there at this present moment. But Opie's got a very cool head, and he just decided to go back one more position in the run. And her demeanour, Mark, and you mentioned to me in the green room, you saw her come off the truck. She's just so cool, calm and collected, and you can basically do anything with her in the run.
Absolutely, yeah. No, she didn't have a sweat mark on her, you know, having travelled, what, three and a half hours. And it's just been her demeanour all the way through.
She's sort of travelling nicely under Opie Bosson at this particular moment, and Rosie's got to the right position. It was a great ride on Peso as well to get that second position. That's a great result for the McDougall and Nelson team, with a horse who is very capable in group racings, and you'd think would win a decent sort of cup this season again like last season. So Rosie put the speed into the race at this point. But Opie had to just niggle a fraction, but he just wanted to get her out into the clear because she is so honest, tough and genuine with that little bit of X factor that she was going to put them away quite easily. Crown Prosecutor, Redden back was really good.
Yeah, really good run. With the blinkers off as well, he's come home really nicely. But she's so adaptable as well, isn't she? I mean, she can race anywhere. She's just got all the credentials of a top horse.
Well, she's different to a horse like Sunlight, isn't she, who used to go out and break your heart, look you in the eye and just beat you up. She can go back from a bad draw, she can go forward from a nice draw, and then the end of the race is just sort of race on race. It's just similar, and that's just her attitude. And look, she's getting better in my mind. Sometimes those mares, they don't follow through, so it's credit to Jamie how she's got her going this nicely, this preparation, and you see her in the parade ring and you see her everywhere and you just can't help but fall in love with her.
She's got a real opinion of herself, which is great. Just all those great mares, they're always like that. Jamie Richards joins us on the phone. I know, hard to believe. He was in Australia yesterday, of course, with the 2 Group 1 performers. Jamie, I'm incredibly surprised you're here, but we're very, very grateful to have you on the show. Well done and welcome in.
Morning, yep, thanks for having me.
Tell me, when did you get back to New Zealand and when did you jump on the flight last night?
The flight left at 7 o'clock Aussie time. The daylight savings is a bit of a hindrance, so didn't get home till about 3, half 3. But anyway, it's good to get home. It's better than coming home with a hangover today.
Jamie, of course, a massive congratulations on what you achieved yesterday. It was quite remarkable to have 3 horses in 3 Group 1s and come away with 2 seconds and a win. And just your training performance of Melody Belle has been absolutely outstanding. Have you adjusted anything that you've done in her training to be able to peak her 3 times to win at 14, 16 and the 2000?
No, not really. She's just she's got stronger and she's a little bit older, and she's handling her racing really well. And when she won over 2,000 metres in the autumn, we knew that she was capable of getting somewhere close to this Triple Crown, and thankfully she's been able to pull it off. But good horses make good trainers, and that's certainly the case with this mare.
It wouldn't make me a good trainer, I can assure you that, Jamie, but she's just uncomplicated, isn't she? Sound, never had really any issues with her, and you can do whatever you like with her, so it becomes quite simple with her to get her the right place. Yeah,
for sure. In terms of managing her, she's never had a joint injected, touch wood, and she's handled all of that really well. She ties up a little bit, but that's not uncommon for mares, and that's really the only thing we've got to manage.
We were talking about the fact that she just seems to improve every time she steps out. Do you think she's the best that she's ever been, in your opinion? You know her pretty much better than anybody.
Yeah, I think the feed bin's her greatest indication, and she's been a filly and a mare that's eaten okay without ever being great, but as we get deeper into her preparation and the weather starts to improve and it gets a bit warmer, she's really starting to thrive.
We watched some footage earlier of her in the sales ring getting purchased from Hanui Farm. What was the first thing that sort of struck you when you saw her as a yearling?
I think one of the biggest things that you notice with her is her great big ears, and big believer in the lovely big ears on a filly or a mare. And we were looking to buy a horse to budget for John Galvin, and Dave and I had been round and looked at all of the horses with Joe Walls, and we really liked the look of this filly. She's from a very good family. Malika Mel was a good mare that was trained by Lance Noble and ran in the 1,000 Guineas, so we've had a lot of luck buying first foals, so she ticked a few boxes and she was very affordable.
I imagine you were watching the race from far afield, Jamie. What did you think in the run-up? He probably just got that one spot further back, and he just kept his sort of calm and took her one spot further back to get her in the clear running.
Yeah, for sure. I thought probably, as you said earlier, Bevan ended up a pair further back on the fence than we wanted to be, but you know, he got off the fence at the right time, took bad luck out of the equation, and she did the rest.
She's flying, so the question has to be asked of you, Jamie. Where to from now? Does Australia beckon for our very good mare?
Yeah, I think it's got to, as long as she comes through. Happy with how she's trotted up here this morning. And we're going to have a bit of a team talk tomorrow and just work it all out. But there's a couple of options for her in Melbourne, and I think when she's going so well, you've got to go over and have a crack.
In your opinion, what has been her best win this preparation out of the three?
Certainly the first leg at Hastings. Everything was against her that day, and she's known for racing on the speed, so to get way back last and finish off, that was just outstanding.
Jamie, it wasn't just about Melody Belle yesterday. There was a couple of others in Group 1 races. Of course, we've got Tiakau Shark in the Epsom, and geez, he ran an absolute blinder, didn't he?
Yeah, terrific run. Absolutely gutted that we couldn't pull it off, but he did his very best and really proud of him.
Is he a bit different, Jamie? You've got a pretty simple sort of a horse in Melody Belle, and does this horse just have to make you think outside the square a fraction more with him, because you have been a little bit lighter on him clearly? You can't quite hold up the runs that Melody Belle can put in. Yeah,
you just got to know your horses, and he just likes his races being spaced a little bit. He's not the best of eaters, and he's a little bit day-to-day with his soundness, but we've got him well under control now, and a big thanks. Just while I've got a moment to say thank you to the team of staff that we've got here. With all the travelling that I've been doing, it's quite incredible how they've all stepped up to the plate and really looked after these horses very, very well.
Tell me about the plan with Tiakau Shark. I'm sure everybody's burning to know perhaps what he's going to do next.
Yeah, the plan with him is to just sit down again tomorrow and have a little bit of a look at the program. More than likely he'll go to Melbourne, as long as we're happy with him. We're just not quite 100% sure what race it'll be for yet, but we'd certainly like to take him down to Victoria and show him off.
Have you been taken aback a little bit by the way the Australian media has embraced Tiakau Shark? Everywhere I looked through the week, it was Shark, Shark, Shark on Twitter and Facebook. It really has been taken on by the public over there.
Yeah, and I think the racing media have used him as a way of getting it into the mainstream media through Paul Gallen to promote racing and their carnival, their Everest Carnival. So, it's great to be a part of that, and he's got a really good team of owners behind him, and it's great to see that he's being so embraced in Australia.
Probabile was your other Group 1 performer yesterday, and she did a fine job as well. What did you make of that effort? It was a little bit upside down from how we've seen her race previously. Was that always the plan?
Not really. She jumped better than we expected. We sort of thought that she'd be out the back a little bit. She doesn't really like the ground, and I think that was the difference there yesterday. She's a lovely filly with a good action, and she needs better ground. She's under the pump, a long way from home, but she's beaten by a super filly that enjoys a bit of moisture. So neither of those horses in Sydney have lost any admirers, and they've done a great job for us.
Better chaser, I think that's clear on the vision we see there. Jamie, when she was up outside the leader, she just didn't seem to be overly comfortable, and if she can sit back with a bit of cover and a bigger field, because it was a tricky assignment yesterday with the way that field actually franked up. There were only two major chances and you couldn't get too far away from Funstar.
Yeah, exactly. It sort of mapped like it was going to be a little bit tricky if James got to the front and dictated, which did happen. We were quite happy to be back a little bit further than where we ended up, but Kieran's a world-class rider, and I thought he gave her a lovely ride.
What's the plan with her? Do you think she's the type of filly that's going to be able to get over a little bit further than that trip yesterday?
I think so in time. There's no rush with her. We'll sit down again tomorrow and have a bit of a team talk about it all. But mindful that she had a big enough 2-year-old season, and I think if we can look after her and give her a little bit of time, we could really crank it up in the autumn and have a lot of fun with her. So she could have one more run, or she could have a break. We'll just work through that.
I'm not sure you know what you achieved yesterday, Jamie. A couple of Group 1s in Australia and a Triple Crown, which is just so hard to win. You look across all racing jurisdictions and they're very tough to win. So what an effort, Jamie. Unbelievable training performance from yourself.
Thank you, yeah. I just wanted to beat those Aussies, but anyway, we'll get them next time.
Hey, you and me both.
I think that's coming very shortly, beating the Aussies on the performance of those horses. Just give us a mention on Te Akau Caliburn. What did you take out of that run?
He's a little bit disappointing, but he's been up a fair while, and so these European horses are just the firm tracks. Just sort of find them out pretty quickly. So I think we'll give him a break, and we'll look forward to the autumn. He's a high-class horse, and he's got a lot of speed. So it's going to be interesting to see how he comes up when we train him our way. Keep him a bit sharper, 14 and a mile, before we sort of get up and trip too far. But he's a lovely horse, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the autumn.
Jamie, a massive, massive thank you. We can't thank you enough for coming on the show this morning. It is just pure dedication that you show, coming back last night, coming on the show this morning, and dividing your time between all these horses and all the different locations. So congratulations on what you've achieved, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
That's Jamie Richards talking to us about his runners yesterday. He just doesn't quite appreciate what he's achieved, does he? The training effort to get Melody Belle to win at the top level across those 3 distances, it's incredible.
He's pretty humble.
I know.
Let's say that. He's pretty humble because he is a great flag bearer for the New Zealand industry, the way he holds himself. And look, to be back and be on the show today is just crazy, really. It wouldn't have been me, that is for sure. If I'm in Australia with a couple of Group 1 placings, I might be just getting home rather than turning up on the show. So, look, he is a wonderful young man. He's got some lovely horses around him, great opportunities, but he is just picking up the baton and running with it. So, look, it's only up and up and up for one Jamie Richards.
To be under that much pressure at his age, achieving what he is, it's incredible, isn't it?
Oh, I think it's a massive effort, and I was on the foaling paddock last night, foaling mares at the grassroots, and he's at the grassroots, but then managing it so on the prestige stage in Australia, and then back here with the horses first thing in the morning. I mean, outstanding.
Yeah, and we also must give a real special mention to everybody during the Spring Carnival who was just so accessible and open to the media and letting the racing fans really enjoy racing. So big thank you to everybody involved in the industry. Let's take a little look back and see what goes into getting a Triple Crown winner.
So we're just here on Monday morning. Each Monday morning we like to go through and trot up all of our horses, and we're having a look at Melody Belle here. I think she looks great. Tightened up nicely, up to 2,000 metres on Saturday.
So I worked Melody Belle on the course proper this morning. Went 1,200 metres and the work was outstanding. Never came off the bridle, and going in towards Saturday's race, so I'm very, very happy with
it. Melody Belle, Wednesday morning, post her gallop here on the course proper yesterday. She's just had a little bit of a swim, and we'll can her a couple of laps this morning, which will have her in good stead for Saturday. She's got one little hit out again tomorrow, Thursday, and then down to Hastings she goes Saturday morning.
Well, we've dissected Melody Belle, but there was another rising superstar on the programme as well. And if you haven't had a chance to watch Catalyst, it is an unbelievable performance. What did we see? I just watched this and I thought, what is this horse? Where is this horse from? It is just remarkable.
Yeah, you try not to say freak too often in racing because people throw darts at you, but I think we can put the dart in the wall in the 2020 and say, this horse is a freak, Mark, because he's worked early. Sectionally, this is a really strong first part of the race, and to come home like he did, cantering at the corner, just says he's one out of the box.
Unbelievable to see what he did and then, you know, go forward and then just come back off the steel, and you actually watch this little bit of vision here and he's just gobbling ground, like he's just relishing it. You know?
Missing away, it was a tricky spot for Troy, and missed away a fraction after what we saw at Hawke's Bay that first day where he just clipped across and found that outside lead position. I thought Troy was lucky not to spend a little bit of time on the sidelines. He did carve up Exuberant as he came across. But this is all about one horse. Look at him here. Look at his ears. And the action is just crazy, isn't it? When you see him flatten out, he's just so level and balanced.
He just glides, doesn't he? Have you ever seen, is that something you can tell, Mark, from a yearling perspective, or is that just full flight? That's when you can see that?
No, I don't think so. I think that is once you break them in and move, and maybe in the paddock, but I've seen some lovely moving horses in the paddock and they're pretty slow.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've had a few, for sure. Look, he's an interesting horse in that if you take this horse to Australia and you run him over 1,600 metres with a bit of cover, running that first part of the race that little bit stronger, what could he do with that turn of foot? Because it is ridiculous, his turn of foot. Best I've seen in a long, long time.
He, as you said, freakish the way he wins, and those good horses, they're able to get themselves out of any problem, and that is just what he does. It doesn't matter if he goes forward, he goes back. If things gets held up, he just manages to win. Somebody who knows the horse better than any of us is Clayton Chipperfield, and he's on the phone. Clayton, good morning, and congratulations. You have an absolute superstar on your hands.
Yeah, morning. Yeah, thank you. He's, I think he's something special.
Chippy, you're early in your training career, clearly, and a lot of our senior trainers have waited decades to find a horse of this quality. So, look, it's special to have a horse like this so early in your career to put your name up in lights.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I feel blessed. It almost turns my job into a privilege having a horse like him in the stables. You know, getting out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning certainly makes things a lot easier.
Does he surprise you with what he does? I mean, yesterday he once again showed his versatility, having to sort of do the work early and then sprint at the end of the race. Were you surprised with what he did, or is that just expected? You knew he could do that.
Well, he's shown plenty up until yesterday. He had plenty of ability, but no, what he did yesterday was phenomenal, really. I mean, he was slow away, and Troy's had to bustle him a bit early just to stay in contact. And once he found his rhythm, he just cruised to the front quite easily, and he got those couple of soft sectionals around the bend, and it was all over the top of the straight, really, to be fair.
How is he at home? Is he a horse that goes out onto the track and wants to be there? Is he lazy? What's his personality like?
He's bomb-proof.
Yeah?
He's absolutely bomb-proof. He never does any more than he needs to. You never see him run around the paddock. You let him go in the mornings, he just wanders on over to his feet and sticks his head in the bin. He loves his tucker. He just stresses about nothing, which just makes travelling him so much easier.
That's what you want in a good horse, though, isn't it? I mean, that's maybe one part of his greatness. Is that personality, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. You know, you can make plans with him in days before the race and send him wherever you like and have no problems. You know, I mean, if he was a hot horse, you would probably go on the day, but because he's so relaxed, we've travelled the day before every meeting this campaign, and he's just licked the bowl and enjoyed it. You know, he almost loves a trip away. Bit like me.
What's the ride been like? Has it been just so enjoyable for yourself and your family, of course?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've said it many times. We've really only just started looking at the racing side this season, and to have a horse like him, it's just another level for us. You know, it's very, very enjoyable and just a dream start. To be fair, just never thought I'd be this lucky this early.
We had a quiet beer on Friday night, Clayton. You seemed pretty cool, calm and collected about the whole situation. And is that something that's come out of your riding, where you were pretty cool, calm and collected there? You rode a Group 1 winner over in America, and we know how good you were when you were riding here in NZ.
Oh, might have looked cool, calm and collected on the outside, but I tell you what, the heart was beating yesterday. I'll give you the tip. But no, riding in bigger races, I certainly found it a lot easier rather than training them. A lot less pressure on being a rider, you know. I mean, I only had 5 minutes of time with the Horse Cup race day, whereas this has been a progress in the last 6 to 8 months. So the pressure was certainly there.
2.5 million. Clayton, I understand, has been on the table for this particular horse. That has been turned down, so it's a real excitement factor for our industry to understand that this horse is going to stay with us and really be the flagship 3-year-old going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a lot of money to turn down for a gelding, but good on Dick Caraman. You know, he's put a lot of money in this game, and to have a horse like this is what he's in it for. You know, he wants the Group 1s and the fun he can get out of this game, rather than sell all his best ones and watch someone else get the wins. But you know, it's great for New Zealand racing to keep him here, and certainly great for me.
1,600 metres, Guineas, he'll lap that up. How far further have you planned? Is that as far as you've gone, this preparation, getting down to Riccarton, and then you'll come home and sort of make a plan from there? Or are there already thoughts of places further afield?
Yeah, well, we're just getting through one race at a time, and then this grand final is going to be the 2,000 Guineas. But from there, he'll come back up to the Oaks and have a 4 or 5 week spell and look at the autumn. But I think his last start in New Zealand could very well be the 2,000 Guineas.
What kind of races would you like to target with him in Australia? Is there a race even for you personally that you'd perhaps like to win?
Oh, I'd love to have a horse in the 2020 Cox Plate. It'd be nice.
Wouldn't we all?
You know, his dam Ivana, she got up to 2,100, and he's Darcy Brahma. So you know, a mile to 2,000 metres, I don't think will be too much of an issue for him, even in Australia.
Well, thank you very much, Clayton, for joining us this morning. It's great to catch up with you, and thanks for joining us on a Sunday. And geez, everybody, I think, in the industry is just so excited about the potential of Catalyst.
No problem. Thank you.
So a big thanks to Clayton Chipperfield. And Mark, we were just talking to you earlier about Dick Caraman and the fact that he's decided to retain the horse, and you had a really interesting angle on that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Dam Size Entrepreneur was a stallion that the Oaks brought into New Zealand. Darcy Brahma, you know, they're basically their flagship stallion. And I think that when you breed them and you own them, you know, we had a horse moons ago, Western Lee. It was a great horse, and I don't think the money's anything to Dick Caraman and Rick Williams and the way that this horse is. You look at that action of him, and he just, when he's in the air, how much ground he covers. He is a real excitement machine, and what do? You go to find another one, and you've already got them. So it's a very exciting thing as a breeder and as an owner.
And it's a lottery, isn't it? I mean, and you've won the lottery pretty much. That's your ticket, and you might as well enjoy it.
Wow. I wouldn't be, well, I would be selling him, but I wouldn't want to sell him. That is for sure. We just saw the Guineas market. He's going to go around the shortest price, you know, Guineas favourite in living memory, really. The other horse in that market is Double Impact. Haven't seen the best of that horse as well, owned by Dick as well. Yeah, but I think he's got a bit of X factor as well when he really does sort it out, and he might not be a massive margin off Catalyst, so we might just have 2 horses there that have a little bit
Catalyst.
of
It's
excitement
all about
about
Catalyst for me. Of course, Mav was a really good run as well. Let's find out a little bit more from those beaten jockeys in the Guineas.
Yeah, game and defeat. Set outside the leader. Catalyst come around and had to do a bit of work to get around me. When I seen that, I sort of thought, oh, this might soften him up a bit, but to the winner's credit, it was just far too good. My bloke chased hard though in defeat. He's a good little galloper, this bloke. He's definitely got the ability there, and I think he's got quite a bright future ahead of him.
That wasn't a bad run. He got to the line quite well that last bit, but he's far away off the winner. I think it's going to be take a very special horse to beat the winner.
Well, I thought she ran a gutsy race. You know, like I said to Mr. Larry, when I came into the straight, I thought I was gone. So she showed a lot of heart to keep hitting towards the line like she did. She was just unlucky not to get third. She got touched off. I think the big crowd and everything got to her a little bit. She was pretty sweaty and uptight by the time we got to the start. So with all the things against her, she still did very well.
Yeah, it was a tough run. He should have really run third. Did get all favours in the run, but he hit the line well.
It's a very good run. He sort of got held up a little bit at the half mile, and I sort of needed to be sliding forward. Probably didn't get clear until late, and it's been a very, very good run. I think he got sort of run when he'd straightened. He's run a good third. He's a horse on the improve, and he's learning. So yeah, great effort.
It's hard for those other 3-year-olds this season with such a dominant favourite in the 2000 Guineas in Catalyst, but there's some lovely horses in there progressing on forward. We added another piece to the puzzle of the 1000 Guineas, and that was down south, and it was Carolino who was taking her place in the Inglewood Stud Guineas trial, and she did a nice job seen here on the rail.
Beautiful ride. It was a perfect ride, but she really did stretch out beautifully late in this particular race, and second rated them. Zielinski back just over-raced, and that cost it every chance in the run. But you see the yellow colours there down towards the inside. It's going to get the perfect split at the top of this straight, and you thought, well, it's going to be in a fight here, but it was a really one-horse affair late in the race, and it's actually very, very good. I think $16 in that market now, and on that, you wouldn't be saying this horse can't lift another level and be very, very competitive against its own sex. So, lucky horse it's not going to the boys' race.
I know, it's competitive, isn't it, that girls' race, though? You could go any way with the girls, really, couldn't you?
Yeah, it's certainly much more competitive than the boys.
Yeah.
So, like, it's going to be interesting. You've got horses like Belle and those sort of horses, some that are maybe a little bit questionable at the 1,600 metres. On the evidence of that, you'd say not this particular horse.
Exactly. Let's have a look at that market for the 1,000 Guineas, and you can see it's really split between Aretha, Bavella, Carly, Loire, a real eye-catcher for me, and of course Carolino there at 16. So yeah, interesting, isn't it?
It's going to be a really good race. When you look at Aretha, she was fresh up at Hastings, and that was a very brave performance. Bavella was, I think, set for Hastings, so they're going to have to try and peak that horse for its next start. There's one in there for me, Roger James and the Wellwood team. Has to be good. I love what I saw from that horse, and a beautiful cut of a filly as well.
Mark, did you have any opinion on the 1,000 Guineas? Are you going to put your name to one?
I actually, what Bevan said has to be good. Was very good in the Gold Trail, got home well. But, you know, the filly that won yesterday, Carolino, Zakinto, filly bred by Kevin and Joe Hickman. You know, Secret Allure ran a really nice race last year in the 1,000 Guineas and went on. And, you know, if there's a bit of give in the track, it's a progressive filly, and she ran a very good race first up here. Yeah,
so. Loire's going nicely. Sorrentino very good up north. So that's
and
a nice
even
race.
Arriva Capri, really. Did we put her? Is she going
I'm not
there?
sure she'll get there.
Okay.
Like, I think yesterday she might have just given you a couple of signals that she's been up for a while and might just be feeling it at the end of this preparation. So maybe not down south, but good quality there.
We had another stakes race on the card, and it was the Red Badge Sprint, and it went to a very consistent performer, Bevan, in True Enough under a beautiful Jonathan Riddell ride.
There were some great rides here yesterday. Our senior hoops really stepped up to the mark, and this was another great effort from Jay Riddell. Nice efforts out wide. It wasn't easy yesterday to make a lot of ground out wide, especially with that wind down the home straight. They sort of hit it, and those horses out wide really struggled to get to the leaders, and if you're along the rail, it just seemed to be a favoured position. So the efforts out wide are great, but True Enough's a very progressive horse under a good ride. The mitigator took pressure, good effort. Hanger just tends to do that, Hanger, doesn't he? He's flashing, and like, we just want to see him get the job done. And Magnum was really, really good from back in the field. So good quality sprinting race, it really was.
And Jonathan said that he thought that True Enough was going to win a really nice race going forward, so that was a good indication of his thoughts on the horse.
Yeah, well, physically you'd be impressed. Like, as a horse that fills your eye, and you think, well, he seems to be really, really progressive. But the ride won the race. It was perfect, and when you get that sort of run in the race, you'd expect it to be competitive.
We had a very strong undercard on the day. Let's have a little look at all of those races, 2, 4, 7 and 10.
This is a race. Popstar Princess flew out of the gates, and you think, well, it has to stop. Satu Lagi, unlucky. Mr. Universe hit the line nicely. Vinny's volley, just okay, but gee, that was a tough
and if
effort.
you weren't there, you'd know the wind, the headwind up that zone nearly blew off my white horse.
And yeah, the blinkers on it got there so quickly. Gee, they got this right. They put money on again and blew them off the racetrack. This Colorado Star out wide, 3 wide the trip, and to run into that position is going to make a proper horse.
And Lily Dore, I thought, another eye catcher.
Yeah, she just got caught out wide, and that was really not her pattern.
This one's Aim Smart, who was fresh up after a long time and did a really nice job to get home for the win as well.
Great training effort, great training effort. Tevi's court just needs to get there a bit softer. 1 prize, 1 goal, a little unlucky. Intrigue is a real developer out of that race.
And then the last one was the last on the hard, the dead heat of Hartley in Cutting Up Rough in race number 10.
Well, he just loves to be a competitor, this horse, cutting up rough. He just digs his toes in and kept on coming. Hartley's going nicely. Artiste is a black booker. Sir Nate, maybe he needs a bit of cut out of the track. And Fila, I think everything maps to Riccarton once he gets over a bit of ground. But look, it was a heartbreak for a few in the punter of the year with the dead heat. There was a team with 800 on cutting up rough. That would have won the competition, 200 of the Quinella. There was another team with a poultice on Hartley, and there was a group of southern boys who are in the middle, and they just had the mix perfect with the reduced dividends to beat those other two teams. I think the Lennox boys from Waverley were those two teams, but I did ring them this morning and they sounded as though they'd had a fair old weekend as it was, and they took the cash home. So they'll be sucked in forever. They were young lads from down south, I understand. They got 12,000, they had 20,000, and you can go home and give mum a little bit of cash and everything will be okay, rather than the trouble you normally get in.
It was a fantastic day at the races, wasn't it? Between that punter of the year, Melody Belle, the big crowd on course. It was a great day out. Good day for racing, I thought.
Well, I've been to a lot of race meetings now, and there's very few that really you remember, and yesterday will be one of those. What Melody Belle was spectacular, but just really enjoyed the fact that people came out to see her.
Yeah.
Because when you looked at the race, you thought, well, she is going to win, and sometimes that detracts and people don't come along. I reflect back on Coe and how he never really got embraced.
Yeah.
She's finally getting embraced by our public, which is great to see. We need to have heroes and horses to follow, and she really is one of those. Like, Tiako Shark probably had more profile, and he hadn't picked up a Group 1 win yet, whereas she's done everything. She's won 9 now. She's won 5 in a row at Hawke's Bay, the most Group 1s in New Zealand. So she sits right at the top of the tree, and I just thought it was wonderful, the reception she got and everything around her. Great to be anywhere when history is made. You remember it forever, and yesterday was one of those days.
It sure was. It was a fantastic day to be on course. We're going to get you to a break, and on the back of that, we've got our news for the week and some more reviews from Australia. In news this week, 2 former top 3-year-olds, Scott Bass and media sensation, stepped out at the Avondale Trials midweek in an open catchweight over 800 metres. Peter Williams reports that last season's 1,000 Guineas winner, media sensation, will target the 2020 railway, and she's likely to trial again before lining up on better spring tracks.
Is Scott Bass in the hands of Troy Harris. 300 left to go, and Marzamino bowling along nicely by 3, by 4. In blissful isolation here, Marzamino from way above media sensation. Scott Bass back on the inside, Kingsguard and Glenda Lock. Marzamino, the Purin Canto mare. Lovely trial, way above, cut the margin down to 3/4. I'd say
a gear change may be considered for the Chosen One after a disappointing performance in last week's Group 1 Underwood Stakes at Caulfield. Co-trainer Andrew Forsman was left perplexed after the Chosen One's run and says the pressure is now on to make the Caulfield Cup field.
He's going to run in the Herbert Power next Saturday at Caulfield. That's straight up to 2,400, and obviously it's sort of the last crack at getting on a Caulfield Cup. So the one thing we are toying with is putting the blinkers on. That's probably something we just have to sort of decide in the next few days, and whether they go on or we keep them off, given that he is rising up sharply in distance.
Kiwi jockey James McDonald looks spoilt for choice this spring as he dominated the Randwick card yesterday. McDonald won 5 races, including the Group 3 Breeders' Plate with Global Quest, and the Group 1 Flight Stakes with Funstar, and the Group 2 Hill Stakes with former Kiwi Very Elegant.
He's trying to get on turns, summered out, Very Elegant, they're wide apart, they hit it, oh great finish there, nothing in it, summered out and Very Elegant. Lifeless Ordinary third in front of Tully, then came our Central.
Very Elegant is trained by former Kiwi Chris Waller, who's also flexing his muscles with Group 1 wins in both Sydney and Melbourne yesterday. Among Waller's 4 Group 1 wins was the phenomenal story of Kingswell Dream, a horse that broke down in last year's Cox Plate, but looks right on target for another tilt at the Group 1 feature on October the 26th, following a popular win in yesterday's Turnbull Stakes.
on. Kingswell Dream won the Turnbull, beat French Hartnell, found a clear fourth.
There were some great stories out of Australia yesterday, and none better than our Kiwi breeding industry. We had a sensational day, really, didn't we?
Yeah, the Epsom. Look out. Kiwis all over the place, but it was pretty much process across Australasian racing yesterday that we were up in the headlights. And unfortunately, it may be just that way with our stake money at the present moment, that we are a breeding ground to have horses sold into Australia, but the way our horses run with such great credit must give you and breeders alike so much sort of proudness about what we produce.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it needs to happen, and you know, people only remember the winners. But you know, the Epsom result yesterday, Ocean Park in his first Group 1 winner. And third as well, and Te Akau Shark being Rip Van Winkle, Surprise Baby winning, you know,
and that was a
shocking horse
Gavel
winning.
House purchase as well, wasn't it, Surprise Baby?
Yeah, absolutely. It shows all the different markets that you can sell in today that didn't exist 5 years ago. So it's an ever-changing world out there, and it was great to see.
We also had Sir Charles Road as well, which we can have a little look at in the Metropolitan, and he raced very unusual for him. We saw him outside the speed.
Yeah, very, very unique for him. He's clearly going as well as last season. So he is heading the right way to get back to the Melbourne Cup, and we know what he did last Melbourne Cup. He was actually a chance for us. I got a bit excited as he turned in. But you throw Glory Days into the mix and how well she is going at the present moment, and you have to say that New Zealand, because we've been a little bit devoid in recent years in the Melbourne Cup to actually have a horse to pin our sort of colours to it. Charles Road, obviously, last season. But these two horses are going to be, I'm not going to say great chances, but they're going to be live chances in the Melbourne Cup. And that's something we sort of have missed out on a little bit over the last few years.
Yeah, we have, and I think you know, he would have preferred better ground than that, Charles Road. And his last 100 metres, he looked like he was going to possibly die and run 5th or 6th, but he actually fought back really well. So I know David and O'Sullivan's Scott team have had a plan in place, and you know, the
seems to be coming together
all
well.
systems go. Yeah, great.
Yeah, and everything seems to be coming right with Glory Days. Like,
she's
they're
ran
just
some blinders.
bringing her along nicely. Look, she's a bit different to our normal stars that we've been sending over in recent years, where she can really quicken at the end of 3,200 metres, and that seems to be what you need now to win a Melbourne Cup. And she's going to sneak in there at the right possible way. I know the team have booked a room there on Melbourne Cup Day. They paid a fortune.
That's going to be a big day.
If they win, it'll certainly be something that probably the VRC haven't seen before.
Whilst we're on that Australian theme, Mark, probably good to catch up with you about Rondinella. What's she up to? It was a fantastic run by her as well.
Yeah, it was. You know, she ran 4th here in the open sprint on a very heavy track, and Moonee Valley ran 2nd in the stock stakes and was a little bit unlucky in the run, and ran 2nd to a Group 1 winner in Princess Jenny, New Zealand bred, so that was good. So she's looking to go to Caulfield on the 16th, 1,000 Guineas Day, either to the Ladies' Day Vars or the Coonji. Just Roger flies over Wednesday, and she's come on really well since that run, and there are other races in mind going forward.
She'll like Caulfield. Caulfield will suit much better.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you know, her run the other night was first time she's been back on a firm track for 5 starts, so she really wants a good track. So hopefully that keeps going.
Brutal was good yesterday as well.
Brutal's very good, yeah.
To come back from the last preparation and beat those horses, I thought, wow, that was a nice performance going forward.
We could list off any number of Kiwis, couldn't we?
Yeah, we can puff our chest out every now and then.
Just sell the Kiwis.
It's not all doom and gloom.
Well, when you're beating the Aussies at their own game, it's a good game.
Yeah,
thank you.
Then you know it's good. Yep. Let's have a look down south. We're going to go to Riccarton now. We saw Carolino earlier. There was a couple of other features on the card, the North Canterbury Cup being one of them. This was a win for Lochinora, Bevan.
Yeah, it was a nice effort from Lochinora. The unlucky is D&G for sure, who just doesn't get a crack. And you can see it in the pink blinkers there and behind them blue cap. They are coming to the centre here. Lochinora's really tough in this part of the race to keep on rolling along, but watch D&G just in behind them. This is a really nice performance to head towards the 2 staying features down at Riccarton. And look, Hawke's Bay's done and dusted now. We had a wonderful time there, and now eyes will head to Riccarton. And I can only encourage you to get there and join Tim Mills and his team for the carnival. You get to see Catalyst, and that's something spectacular to see, so get along. But D&G possibly out of that for mine going forward.
Let's get along to the other race from Canterbury, which was the Copeland's Bakeries Mile Trial, and that was a very, very dominant win by Kiwi Ida.
Look, interesting race. This Camino Rocoso has been really strongly backed in the Copelands, and he was a bit of a gunner up this part of the world. He just never really finished off, but he has found some good form down there, and I thought he was really good. His last bit of his race, he started wobbling around a bit. Kiwi Ida's, the run. It was a spectacular effort, and she's a good quality mare who looked the one in this particular race, and under a really good ride from a pretty talented young man. Because in the saddle, he is flying, and he does balance him up beautifully. Once she got the split, she put them away pretty quickly. She's probably coming to, at some point, the end of her racing career. She's getting a little bit longer in the tooth, but she's racing as well as ever. And geez, the Parsons, they're just great trainers, aren't they? They just get them right on the money. Copeland's Mile Market. It's hard to know who exactly will be there. What did you make of Mongolian Marshall yesterday?
Oh, I don't know. He's a tough one for me.
Yeah.
I wondered if the 2000. I just thought as a miler more, which then this would suit.
Yeah. Look, cut a deal, going nicely enough. Avantage won't be there. No. Queen of Diamonds, they're looking to go to the Taranaki Breeders on Saturday to kick her away. Forecast is terrible for there. Shadows Cast is going well, and he has raced nicely at Rickenham before. Hang Up, I think they might go with him. More Wonder's a head scratcher.
Yeah, he
Sort of Osmond's had a gallop up, true enough. Well, you'd throw at the stumps there, wouldn't you? Over the page, option 649, Rock on Woods out of this market. I hadn't had a look at this. Burgundy Belle, 21s, Lincoln Raider. There's a horse you should keep a very close eye on. Trialled up at Otiki the other day, and my word, it looked as though it'd come back nicer. He might be $21, a great price around him. He's a proper galloper.
So the Copeland's Bakery Mile, that'll be where we are heading. Obviously, we wrapped up the Spring Carnival and, of course, the Hastings Spring Carnival, and then Riccarton becomes our next focus. Catalyst is obviously the horse that we're going to really be going to see, the superstar. And then you've got that fillies. We've got the best of both worlds, haven't we? We've got a superstar, and then we've got a really open fillies race. It's
a wonderful carnival down there, and they get good crowds. They get the extra additive of Catalyst, which is going to make it a little bit more special down there. Like one of those races is a little bit like Melody Belle yesterday, like it's just crown the champion and move on. The other races, they're much more even, and they do support that carnival very, very well. I wanted to ask the question around Melody Belle and what more stock are coming out of this family, because you might get a few more bids come to the sales ring.
Yeah, well, we've got a Tavistock colt heading to Karaka 2020 to New Zealand Bloodstock. Lovely horse, Cherry Bay, very correct, lovely, so really good type. Marie's retained a Tavistock filly to race and heading to Jamie's stable. The mare's currently enfolded, not a single doubt, and she's having a filly. She's based in Australia at the moment, and she'll visit Snitzel.
We should talk about Marie, because she's been a long-time client of your particular farm. She's been in breeding for a long time, and she's very passionate, and she just loves her horses and family.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it really is a passion. They, stem from her parents, going to sales, and she's taken over the mantle. And you know, when you think that she's bred a Sprinter Miler of the Year in Coogee Walk, who won the Railway. Belle was a filly of the year, but to crown it in her early 80s with, last year's Horse of the Year. And, when you think she won the 5 Group 1s last year, the question mark at maybe that Tarapa trial was, don't know if she's come back, but she certainly has. And, it's just great for the industry, great to have someone like Jamie Richards, plan that. And I think, you saw his composure there this morning is the mark of, potentially a rising great trainer in the New Zealand ranks, which is what the industry needs. We need young people coming through and from an educated background, a lot of parental support, and I think it's marvellous.
It sure is marvellous, and it was just a fairy tale ending to the Hawke's Bay Spring Carnival, with Melody Belle just being crowned Triple Crown winner, the first making history, and what a remarkable achievement from all connections. Thank you much, Chitty, for joining us on the show. Bevan Sweeney, great to have you with us. It's been a fantastic weigh-in this week. We'll be back to do it all again next week. For now, let's look back once again, one final time. Melody Belle.
Racing in the Tarzina, away they go. Melody Belle a little way off them, but travels well before the home corner. Sleeping Beauty, Dance, and Dark Princess. Wider out, Melody Belle. She's starting to charge home as well. Here she comes, Melody Belle. Melody Belle wins it.
Isn't she a star?
Yeah, she is. You just can't fault her. Bring it on, next couple of legs back here.
Yep, so she'll be back here for the middle leg, Windsor Park Plate Day.
Absolutely, and then we're going to have a crack at the 2000 as well.
Melody Belle goes in. Stand by for the start. We're ready and racing in the Windsor Park Plate. They are going at it here. Now we've got Melody Belle. He's releasing her in the centre. She canned it up to them now. Melody Belle a length and a half in front. Have a look at the darling of New Zealand turf. And Melody Belle does the double. She'll get it.
She's just amazing. Like, she's just got that will to win and just doesn't know when to say never. So every time you go out, she gives you 110%.
You come here now for a crack at this elusive Triple Crown. It's never been done before. Can she do it?
It's a great honour and privilege to be able to come and have a go at that occasion.
There's so much nervous anticipation regarding the possibility of the Triple Crown going for the first time ever. Now we're racing. They're off in the Livermore. Melody Belle's away well near the inside. Here she comes, Melody Belle. Opie Bosson's about to release her. Peso's fighting hard on the inside, but she's got the front now. Melody Belle from Peso, and they get right away from Crown Prosecutor. Here it comes, 9 Group 1 wins, and she is going to be dancing to her destiny. Melody Belle wins the first ever Triple Crown.
I just love her. She just keeps coming up underneath you. She's just a darling.
I said to people before the race, we're standing on the crest of history, and now we've done it. So it's an incredible feeling to come here today and win this very elusive Triple Crown.